to the Inherited Abode. I'm Summer, your host, and we are going to start right where I left off at. It is Mother's Day 2024, or a little bit after that, a couple of days after that, or it was somewhere around. I'll say it was Mother's Day when this took place. I had my son call your grandmother, tell her Happy Mother's Day. She didn't answer the phone. It's a little odd, but we both said, oh, she's probably taking a nap. We'll call her back. Called her again that night. She didn't answer. That's weird. The next day, a good friend of my mom's, she sends me a text. She's like, she's not even sure if it's my number. And she's like, hey, this is so-and-so. Have you talked to your mom? I called her and I haven't heard back from her. So at this time, when I get this text, my son is at school because Mother's Day was Sunday, Monday. I'm at school. He's at school. I'm at a coffee shop working around the corner because sometimes I'm like, it's not even worth going home. I'll just work from here, go get back in carpool line. So normal, typical day for us because at this point, we've been here since 2022, 2023, 2024. We got this down to a science. And I'm sitting there like, okay. We couldn't get in touch with her, and now her friend is saying she can't get in touch with her. I said, okay. So I think I called her. I don't know if I called her or texted her, but I talked to her. I said, thank you very much. I couldn't get in touch with her either. Let me check on some things. So I called my mentor who lives in my hometown, and she was at her part-time job. So she was like, I can't go right now, but I can maybe go when I get off. I said, okay, I'll call you back. I'll let you know if I really need you to go. I call a neighbor, my mom's neighbor, and I said, hey, you're at home? She says, yes. I said, can you do me a favor? I said, can you go around to my mom's house, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, see if she comes to the door? Because again, I'm like, maybe, I don't know. Let's see. And my mom had a house phone, so we would call the landline, we would call the cell phone. I was calling the landline, the cell phone. She wasn't answering. I left her a voicemail. I sent her a text. I'm like, hey, I'm going to call the police if you don't answer the phone. Nothing. So the neighbor goes by, she knocks on the door, she rings the doorbell, and we have, there's only one place that you can ring the doorbell and knock on the door. So she's knocking and she's on the phone with me. She's looking in the mirror, she's looking in the windows, and she's like, I don't see any lights. I don't see anything on inside that I can see, which is really kind of hard to see. And she's like, no, she's not answering. I said, okay. I take a deep breath and I say, okay, I think I'm going to call the police to come do a welfare check. She said, okay, I'll stay and wait. I said, okay. So I text one more time. I am about to call the police if you do not call me back. She does not call me back. I call the police. They ask me a series of questions. And a lot of it is about making sure that they're not going to be held liable for destroying any of the private property because they're going to have to break the door down. And I say, you have to break the door down. I give you permission. We will not hold you accountable. And so, because I knew the door was kind of sturdy, and I was like, you're gonna have to knock it down. So they come. I'm on the phone with my neighbor. They come. I hear her talking to them. They get the door. They knock it down. They go in. She goes in behind them. She's got me on FaceTime at this point. And lo and behold, my mother is in there. She has fallen. That knee. She has fallen. She did not have her cell phone close to her. She could not get to pull herself or crawl or drag herself to a phone. She was in a bathroom in the house where she fell in between the toilet and the tub. So it was in such a weird position unless you were flexible. Unless you were comfortable making all these types of movements and adjustments, you have a bad knee, you're older, you're not going to be able to do this. And so at this time, I've calculated my mom hasn't eaten or drank anything in about 2 days. If Sunday is the day that this happened, it could be up to 3, because the last time I talked to her is 5 days before. It's 3 to 5 days before, so I'll say 5 days before. So I'm hoping that I'm counting from Sunday, because now it's Monday, about to be Tuesday, somewhere up in there. And I'm just okay. But I think we were able to find out that someone had talked to her on a Saturday or something like that. So we knew that, at that time she was close to the phone. So they get her, they take her in the ambulance, they take her to the hospital. It's the middle of the day. I'm at a coffee shop. My son is in school. I do not have a plan, but I need to pull a plan together right then and there. The neighbor also goes to church with my mom. My mom's friend and was maid of honor at her wedding, which was also, her husband was my dad's best friend. They come. So in the immediate, they are there. Those two ladies are there. So I don't have to worry about anything. They got it till I can get there. I call my co-parent. I'm like, hey, this is the scenario. I don't know. Now, bear in mind, it's May, so school's almost out. I don't know when I'm coming back because I don't know what I'm walking into. I am about to go home, pack up everything, bring it to your house. You have to go pick him up. You need to get him to school for the rest of the school year. I don't know when I'm coming back. That was the plan. Just like that. That was the plan. I tell my boss, hey, this is what just happened. I'm going to shut the laptop. I'll tell you in about 24 hours where we stand. He was very understanding. He was like, go ahead, do what you need to do. That was the plan. That's all I had. I literally went home, threw stuff in a suitcase for me, threw everything I thought my son would need over the next 3 weeks to the entire summer. Drove it, dropped it off, got on the road, drove 5 hours. I got there at midnight. I pull up at the hospital. Again, I have a license. I'm a healthcare worker. So I'm not a nurse, but I'm a healthcare worker. So I'm like, okay. I come in. I got the questions. I got all the questions. The friend was there. She had my mom's purse. That was great. I relieved them. They could go home. She was too critical to stay at this hospital. They had already put a call out, which is who can take her? Because it's the middle of the night. Who can take her? So they were just waiting on one of the hospitals to respond. They could take her, and that's where we would go. So somebody responded. They put her in an ambulance. She was somewhat stable. I was able to see her. I was able to lay eyes on her, put my hands on her, look at her, and tell her I'm here. And just try to make light of the situation. I said, I know you don't understand how I pulled this off. I bet you didn't think anybody was coming. I said, but I'm your daughter. And if anybody was going to know something was wrong, it was going to be me. I said, so I looked at her. I said, I don't know why you surprised that I'm standing right here in front of you at midnight. She couldn't talk, but she was looking at me. So they put her in an ambulance. We drive. We go to the next hospital. It's about 45 minutes away. Check her in. They get her in. They get her situated. We got to legally check her in. So I have to pull out. I have a purse now. So I'm digging in the purse. I got to pull out a license. I got to pull out an insurance card. I'm digging through all these things. Okay. Do you know your parents' insurance? I didn't. Do you know where their insurance card is? I didn't. I just knew my mom was a creature of habit and she kept everything in her wallet. So I'm digging through this boomer's wallet until I found what I needed. So I found it, was able to get her checked in, was able to show that she had like the Medicare, whatever you have insurance, plus another like supplemental insurance, which thank God, because it pretty much covered 100% of everything. And she was in ICU, eventually was moved to ICU. And for the next 30 days, we were in the ICU. 30 days. I got a hotel room the first 2 days just so I could be close, so I could figure out, like keep tabs on her and kind of figure out what all was wrong, what were we up against, what were we fighting. She was extremely dehydrated. Malnourished, nutrition. She really wasn't eating. So even before then, she really wasn't eating. I think she was eating like 1 meal a day. My mom was essentially depressed. There's no one in the house. There's no one at home. And so we're at this point where the thing that could happen happened. She fell. She couldn't move. We didn't get the knee surgery. I didn't push for that. And now we're in the hospital. We're in ICU. And we are trying to see what all we have to do to save her. Well, she was extremely, extremely dehydrated, so they have been pumping her full of fluids that whole night, the next day, the next day. Well, we didn't realize that they should have pulled back on those fluids. They did not. They pretty much flooded her body, and her oxygen started going down. We're like, why? She can breathe. She's fine. And then they did a blood draw. We checked it again. Her oxygen was very low. She had fluid on the lungs and she could not breathe. And that was impeding her oxygenation. And she needed to get put on a vent. I'm not going home anytime soon. Now you know I was there for 30 days. I'm telling my boss, this is where we are, this is what we're doing. I'm trying to work a little bit because, I am in the hospital all day. I'm just sitting there, so I'm trying to work a little bit. I'm checking in on my son. I'm kind of giving him a high level what's going on with his grandmother without letting him really know. And I consent to her being put on the vent. So let's go back. How am I able to consent? Because my mother finally agreed to a power of attorney and a will. So I have the authority to consent to that. I have the authority to pay her bills. I have the authority to handle her affairs. That's one thing we didn't have to worry about. We legally had the documents. So we do that. I, at some point, go home, get my son, bring him. My mom and my son are very close. And as a healthcare worker and as his mother, I knew he needed to see this. He did not need to just know one day he saw his grandmother at Easter and then she was gone. That was not going to work. So I did go get him. I think we met halfway. Got him, brought him up there. He saw his grandmother on a ventilator. But I was able to walk him through everything, explain everything. And grandmother was awake. She was alert. So she was able to make eye contact with him. He was able to talk to her, and he told her to get better soon and to rest and relax. It was the most tear-jerking experience that I could have gone through in that moment. It was hard. But it needed to happen because I did not want my son to not be able to understand how this happened. And all I could say is, oh, grandmother fell. Your grandmother fell. She was down for a couple of days. Remember when we tried to call and we couldn't talk to her? You have to be ready to be the responsible sibling. Okay? So we're doing these things. That was the first 24 hours. That was the second 24 hours. That was the first week. I go get my son. He's with me a few days. I take him back. He was with me a week because there was a summer program. It was June. There was a summer program, and my mentor took my son to the summer program during the day while I was at the hospital. Then I would come home in the evening and be with my son. So we were in my mom's house, in my parents' house. So giving a sense of normalcy, like everything for the most part is the same except for this. Grandmother's sick. Eventually let him go back home for the summer. I stayed up there. And we did all that we could. I fought for my mother. We did every test. We did everything. We tracked everything. I was able to get her off the ventilator. I was eventually able to get her off the ventilator, but her body just could not recover. And I'm telling you this story because it's not always cancer. It's not always a heart attack. It's not always a stroke. It's not always a car accident. It's something that you just don't see coming. I did not see that coming. We had just taken a flight in February. She had just stayed with us for Easter. This was everyday normal life. I did not see this coming. And so, after we got off the ventilator, they were like, there's nothing more we can do. I had to agree that there was nothing more that I wanted them to do. And we went home, and we were home for 2 days, and she passed away. And this is where the real work began. Stay tuned. This is where it gets hard.